didn't know what it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd seen it in books, but like, and you hear about it, but I didn't come out there to work at the restaurant. I came out there to work on the farm and to learn how to grow things and work with these really incredible ingredients, vegetables, and see. I mean, the things like, you know, as a chef, you have purveyors coming to you all the time, right? They're always trying to sell you something because that's their job. Like, you're talking to them, and you know they help you out with what the things you need and the things you want, and they help you learn, discover new ingredients. But at the end of the day, they're coming to you with a list, and they're saying this is everything that's available. And you think, if you don't know the farming aspect of it, this is your entire list of ingredients that you have at your disposal. But then I was looking out here at this farm, and I'm like, yeah, this is, 2005, or yeah, not 2005. Sorry, 2012.
Yeah,
2013.
about then.
No, 2014. Excuse me. This is 6 years ago. It's 2014.
We're a little far. We've been drinking some wine,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. It's okay, though.
We're on the second bottle.
It's okay. It's all right. It's fine.
So, you're looking at this farm, and you're like, holy shit, what's this, oyster leaf? This is a leaf that tastes like oysters?
That was a badass leaf.
You know what I'm saying? There was no, like, at the time, Chef's Garden hadn't really gotten huge. I certainly wasn't using it. It was there. I'm obviously not knocking that. It's a really wonderful company and farm and all that. But, like, I'd never seen oyster leaf. I'd never seen anybody ever list oyster leaf on their, as a available thing to buy.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never seen sea fennel. Like, I'd never seen... Like, there's so much stuff. Ice plant. What the fuck is ice plant?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
talking about a plant that keeps its bladder molecules on the outside of the plant. Sounds disgusting, but this shit looks like it's covered in a disco ball, and it's salty. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's...
That farm and, Chef Costau's approach and all the people that have ran that farm is incredible.
Because at the time, it was more of just... It was just more of an idea of what am I trying to say? At the time, it was more of I don't know what I'm trying to say. And an inspiration.
Okay.
It would give inspiration. Like, we were not farming. We had. Yeah, you might want to hit that. But at the time, we were on an acre, right? We're just getting into our second acre of farmed land. And, you're not really growing enough corn to use for an entire season on an acre of land. You know what I mean? So at the time, it was just, we're growing 145 different crops in 30 feet 30 feet of bed space. So a lot of these are herbs. A lot of these are experimental, like tomatoes, peppers, all these crops that are really there for inspiration to the chef. So that's what's really cool. We're not, at the time, the farm was not really there for production. You know what I'm saying?
The fact that they grew cool things, they'd be like, okay, here's your regular harvest, but here's like what we've been working on.
Yeah.
Is like something that I never thought of. I was like, this is a farm doing R&D.
Exactly.
Like, they're literally testing things to see if they can grow it on a larger scale for a restaurant to be able to use it the entire season that thing is available. So, and that was another cool thing.
And we're talking 3 years lead time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
We're talking about, we show you something, the chefs are excited, we want to put this on the menu right now. Sorry, this is R&D. We grew 3 plants.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, okay, we want to go big next year. We go big next year, but we only grew 3 plants, and, something happens, we fuck it up. There's no harvest that year.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or we don't. Or we grow way too much of it. And it's like, that's the problem, is the fact that we want to use it, but we realize we only actually needed 10 plants. We didn't need 100 plants.
Yeah.
So
but
trying to figure out
the R&D process, and building years of that gets you ultimately to where we're at now.
Absolutely.
Where it's like perfect.
Yeah.
the perfect amount of things grown.
Yeah.
The perfect amount of things not grown.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's like, I mean, shit, how long has the farm been here?
Pretty
9
long.
years?
9 years now, yeah.
Something like that. So, like, obviously, you're growing and you're growing and you're learning and you're learning your land, your weather, your terroir, when you're getting your heat spikes, how often to plant. That takes years and years to figure out. And especially, and now what's happened with Zach, our farmer, and Amy's, our farmers, and, the rest of the crew.
Shout out to Zach Yoder.
Zach Yoder.
Amy Smith.
Amy
What
Smith,
up?
Big ups. Now they're able to just anticipate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're knowing.
It's pretty remarkable, man.
Dude, they're seeing this shit in the catalog, and they're like, I know these guys are going to want this, and I know how much of these guys are going to want this.
From the evolution of, like, you work at the restaurant. Took me 3 years to get to sous chef. At that point, you get to go to the garden meetings, know? And they're telling you all this information that you don't know shit about. Because all you've been doing for the last 3 years is head down, cooking meat, cooking fish to the absolute excellence that it is. Mm-hmm. And you don't know anything about farming. And I think that that's the coolest thing about this restaurant group is the fact that there's something to be learned every single day.
Yeah.
And the knowledge builds. It's not just like, I learned this one thing today, that's it. No, you learn that one thing, and guess what? 2 weeks later, when you don't expect it, you're going to learn another thing about that thing.
Yeah.
And that, like, the ultimate quest for knowledge that Chef Costow leads is one of the best.
Yeah. And it's such an all-encompassing, knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, the cook, not all cooks know, you can fuck up a piece of meat and feel bad, right? You can overcook a small piece of meat and you feel bad, and you're like, man, shit, that animal had a life, literally for the sole purpose of going on this plate, and now I can't put this on the plate. And that's what really crushes you. But at the same time, did you ever think about that with a winter squash? Because at the same time, you've got someone, like I said, ordering seeds in January, right? Planting these seeds out in, late spring, right? You're growing this plant. You're weeding this plant. You're checking on this plant. You're making sure, field mice aren't gnawing on it. You're picking it up off the ground. You're putting shade over it. And I'm talking with all of the, all the winter squash. This takes so much time and effort for a person. Then you're picking the winter squash. Then you have to age it. You know what I mean? You have to, so it dries and the sugars, because, you ever pick a winter squash out of the field and cut it open and try and eat it, it's terrible. You have to let it dry. You have to let those sugars in it really, come out to the point where this, it's almost December now. You know what I'm saying? So it's been 10 or 11 months since somebody's been thinking about that damn squash. And now the cooks, a sous chef is down here at the garden being like, hey, I fucked this squash up. And the farmer's being like, you are a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You know how much time I spent on this and you fucked it up? That reverence of a cook and cooks, sous chefs, for them to be able to look at these ingredients and know really and in the grasp, of things.
The entire process that it takes to make this thing.
So much work to make this small thing.
When you say farm to table, it's easy to say that, but do you really know?
Yeah.
That shit takes 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at, and that's the other thing is how many people think tomatoes are ready in May? A lot of people think that.
The 5x6 tomato is one of those anomalies to me that I'm like, they literally named it the 5x6 tomato because 5x6 fit in a case.
Yeah.
They named it by the fact that they genetically modified it to fit this many in a case.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
Or bred it for that specific reason.
Yeah.
They didn't breed it for the flavor.
They didn't breed it for the flavor.
You know
and that is the coolest thing about the culinary garden at Meadowood is that they grow things for flavor.
Yeah.
You know, people in California at the farmers market grow things for flavor.
Yeah.
And it
nutrition.
makes, it makes you sad about the fact that most of the farms in America, meaning most of the farmland taken up in America, is just these GMO farms making, basically growing corn to keep the fucking economy of fast food going.
Yeah,
and all the other shit.
Yeah, growing that shit.
All
corn,
the other bullshit.
So they can feed those, literally not even to feed people corn, to feed animals shit corn, to feed people shit
animals.
Animals.
Shit animals.
But yeah, dude, it's really wonderful like that. And so that's why I came to this farm.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and so you came to the farm, and then, I'm doing my tenure in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then it's about time where you're done at the farm.
Yeah. So I was at the farm. I worked there for 2.5 years. Once again, it's one of those things like I didn't think I was going to be there for that long, but just the
amount of knowledge after time.
Yeah. You just learn there's just so much to learn.
Because, even me, like, I'm here at the Charter Oak today. It's been 7 years.
Yeah.
And I'm still here happily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Looking forward to the next thing, but still, like, invigorated by the knowledge and by the ability to use things from our own farm, all that.
Yeah. And that really, as a chef, and this is an interesting thing for me, getting, aging as a chef, right? What am I trying to say? So, as a young chef, all you want to do is see these new experiences. Every 2 years, every year, you leave a restaurant, you work at a different restaurant, you move to a different city, you go to a different thing. Your focus is on seeing as many things as you can, and you do that, and it's kind of a shallow way of doing it by just like literally moving yourself to these different places.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. But, I don't know who said it, but I remember reading this where you get more out of life by planting yourself in a place and simply looking around what is there, what is around you. Because these relationships that I'm making with these people after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, these are people that are really excited about food, but I would never have met them if I didn't go to, say, like a farm conference or, go to this random farmer's market on this certain day and see what they have, talk to them, get their phone number, start, a conversation. You really, you start, a perfect example is this, these wineries that have this really amazing fruit, these old timers that had farms back in the day that had these really wonderful trees, and this other, tons of fruit, tons of vegetables. These people that have literally devoted their lives on growing specific things the best way. You're not meeting them and developing a relationship with them by simply knowing them for 6 months and then fucking off. Yeah. Like, it's that, hey,
consistent.
How you doing? It's that, Merry Christmas. How are you? I haven't talked to you since the summertime when you grew those really amazing cucumbers. Really looking forward to next year. The blackberries that we're getting.
Mount Veeder blackberries, the best blackberries I've ever had in my life.
Best blackberries I've ever had in my entire life.
And the relationship that you hold with a lot of those farmers, because after you left that role as gardener, you went into special project sous chef, which is what you are to this day.
Well, yes. Actually, I spent a little bit of time in between that. So
that's
I left
right.
The farm.
You baked at Della Fattoria.
Yeah.
How long was that?
Just a few months.
Baking sourdough. See, the thing that I, respect about Charlie and why I have him on this podcast is the fact that when he wants to get knowledge about something, he will read 6 books about it and then go do it for a month. You know what I mean? And he wanted to learn how to bake bread, so he went to Della Fattoria and he worked there.
An institution.
Yeah. How long did you work there?
I was there 3 months.
Uh-huh.
Kathleen Weber.
Yeah.
God rest her soul. Really wonderful woman. Incredible baker. This is an institution that many, many San Francisco Bay Area chefs have gone through.
Yeah.